Hello, I am Danni Gee. I'm the Director of Programming here at the Joyce Theater. Welcome to our digital chat. And I am here with my longtime sister friend and former colleague of the Alvin, Ailey American Dance Theater, the Artistic Director of the Hubbard Street Dance Chicago, who are now in season with us here this week at the Joyce. Welcome, Linda.
Yay! Thank you. Thanks for having us. We're so excited to be here.
No, and the company looks amazing. So if you're seeing this in real time or anytime this week, we hope you can make it into the theater because tickets are going really fast. So congratulations on the return to New York, and happy Black History Month.
Come on now. Come on now.
I have to say that because you have made history becoming the artistic director of Hubbard Street as not only the first woman to helm the company artistically, but also the first person of color. And can you just expound on how that makes you feel?
Oh my God. I'm going to tell you, I'm so honored.
Mm-hmm.
This is also, I'm the first alumni to be the artistic director as well. And it's, Hubbard Street is a part of my DNA. It's where I got my professional start in this industry. And so I don't take this responsibility lightly. I know the weight of it and I know the honor of it. And I just want this organization to shine as brightly as it can. And I feel like that's my responsibility and it's my honor.
I mean, similarly, our lives are a little bit parallel in that sense. We both left the Ailey company and forged separate paths. But here at the Joyce, I am as well the first woman in this role of director of programming and first person of color.
Come on now.
So
congratulations.
History's being made.
Yes. Come on, Black history.
And similarly, I feel the honor and the legacy of that, especially to your point, you know, the DNA, the Hubbard Street DNA is in you, but also for me, having danced on the stage in 1990 with Philadelphia, you know, the halls of this place are just very welcoming and warm and familiar, and I love that. So it must have felt the same for you, even though when you started, you were in the same place where you were years ago with the company. So you had a new building. So talk about taking over the company in the midst of so much turmoil.
Yeah. Ooh, so it's been rough. You know, COVID is what it is, you know, and it's been devastating for everyone. And even right before COVID, there was a lot of shutdown with the company. We closed our schools, sold the building. And so there was almost like a little bit of a retraction or retreat. You know, we downsized the staff, but we had to do that in order to survive. And thank God I have an incredible executive director, Dave McDermott, for that, those thoughtful ideas about how to survive and how we can come back and rethink what we want to do and do it better. So we're kind of in that moment now of reset. And as you can see, the company is still flourishing. The company is still doing some exquisite work. And now we're kind of ready to see what that next step is going to be.
Oh, you're
so
there.
excited.
You're there.
Yeah.
I mean, the standing ovations throughout the evening, opening night, and all this week so far. I mean, it's been really brilliant. But before I get too far down your journey now with the company, let's go back a little bit. You meeting Lou Conte, the founder of the company.
Oh my God. So I was at the Juilliard School and I was a little disenchanted. You know, I'd started dancing late. I was like 14 years old and all of my teachers kept saying, you're late. You're late. You got work to do. You got work to do. And when I got to Juilliard, they were doing more somatic things. And I understand that as an educator now, you know, really breaking down movement and using less muscle, you know, and more from a skeletal perspective. And I was like, when are we going to dance? My 19-year-old self was ready to dance. And so Hubbard Street came to New York, and I think they had auditions at 890 Broadway.
Oh, wow.
And I was looking at a backstage. It was during final exams. And I said, you know what? I know this company. I saw this company in Philadelphia when I was in high school because there was a member of the company who was also an alum of the Baltimore School for the Arts, Joseph Pacetto. So we took a bus trip and saw the company. I knew about the company, and they were spectacular. I mean, it was like, whoa. And I said, I know this company. They're fantastic. I'm going to go.
Yes.
And that's when I met Lou. And Lou is nobody's joke. Lou knows what he wants. He knows what the intention should be to movement. He's very specific and particular.
Mm-hmm.
So when we met, he said, I like you, but I need to see you with the company. So he invited me out to Chicago.
Oh, wow.
And they were in season. They were performing in Chicago. No pressure.
Right.
They were on stage. They invited me to the concerts at night. So I would see them perform at night and feel like, the next day I had to take class with them on stage.
Oh, wow.
And so I did that entire week. I learned rep. I danced with dancers on the stage with the company. And after that week, he said, I want to hire you.
That's amazing. So you were like 19, 20.
I was like 19 years old, and then just working with Lou. I mean, I'm telling you, Lou is a stickler for detail. And I think that's what people see and people remember about Hubbard Street. It's like, oh my God, precision personified.
Right.
But everyone had their own individual identity.
Exactly.
They were allowed to do that, but you had to be with the ensemble.
Yes.
And I think that type of training, because we were a rep company. We toured all over the United States and Poland and France, and we went everywhere. It was my first time I got a passport. So that was great training. I had to take class every single day before every performance. We had texts and spacing every single day. And so I had a certain work ethic with me. So when I went to the Ailey company, I had a certain way that I approached work.
Absolutely. And again, similarly, I feel the same, having danced for a number of years under Joan Myers Brown with Philadelphia. I mean, there was no half stepping ever. So by the time, similarly, that's Alvin Ailey, it was almost a breeze because we knew what that work was.
Right.
The touring, the rehearsals, full out all the time.
Each and every one of them.
So then when we got to Philadelphia, to Alvin Ailey, and there were actually breaks every hour.
Yeah, it was like,
and then there
wow.
were rules, like, what? You get a break? Really?
Some people don't take class? What does that mean?
Well, oops. Well, that's for another conversation. So going to Alvin Ailey, star dancer there. I got to witness it firsthand from the wings and on stage with you. Brilliant. And then the decision. So you were with Ailey 12, no longer.
13 years.
13 years. And during that time, had your beautiful daughter. Witnessed all of that too. I have to say, and coming back, and then the decision to step away finally.
Yeah.
Was it easy or hard for you?
I always said to myself, because I had a family at the same time as touring and doing all these things, I knew I had a finite amount of time. And so each and every time I stepped on stage, I tried to give it my all so that I could never go back and regret and say, oh, I wish I did this better, or I wish I tried this thing harder. No, I'm going to pour it all out here because I'm not sure when this time is going to end.
Right.
And it's going to. I know that my family is going to need me more. So the decision to step away, there was a series of events. Like, you know how when you're touring and you go to a city and you've been there 3-4 times. And one day I put my key, we were in Tivoli in Copenhagen. And I put my key in the door and I opened it and I went, not only have I been to this city, I've been in this room.
Oh, no, you're like, enough.
I've been in this room before.
Yeah.
And my kids, they were in middle school. And I could see the effects of my leaving. When they were little, and this was before FaceTime. I couldn't FaceTime them. I had to call them every day on the phone. And I could see the work that we would do together and the relationship building that we did when I was not touring with the company versus when I was away and how things would get out of hand or awry or they were really missing me.
Yeah.
And so that just balanced it. The way it happened was really organic. I was dancing a lot and
You
doing
left
a
that
lot
on
of
top.
things.
You really left on top.
Yeah. And so I said, you know what? I think it's time. And I went to Judy and said, Judy, I think it's time for me to go.
Yeah.
I think, and she had no words because she said she couldn't even understand how I was doing it.
Right. Absolutely.
Touring with a family and making it all balanced. She said, I don't even have anything to say.
Yeah.
I'm sad.
Yeah, of course.
But you're doing what you have to do for your family. So that kind of led to that decision to step away.
And of course, we're speaking of Judith Jamison, our boss lady.
The legendary.
The legendary one and only.
The one and only. the best to ever do it.
Right, No, truly. We had so many great mentors in our lives along the way. And so you you go back to Baltimore
Mhm.
and you go back to school.
Mhm.
And did you do any schooling while you were in the company?
No,
Okay.
no, I did it all. So when I left, I became a visiting guest artist
Yes.
at Towson University, and that led to, oh, how can I further my education
Right.
so that I can be here permanently? Because I love teaching.
Yeah.
Like I instantly, even when I taught company class for
Mhm.
the Ailey company,
Mhm.
loved it.
Yeah.
Actually got a rush
Mhm.
out of it. And so I went back and got my MFA
Yes.
at Hollins University
Yes.
while I was visiting guests.
Mhm.
And then that segued into an assistant professor, associate
Mhm.
professor, and then full
Mhm.
professor at Towson
Amazing.
University.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then Ailey Camp Baltimore was
Mhm.
part of your journey as well,
Mhm.
which is amazing, amazing
Mhm.
program. That's all over the country now, which is incredible.
Mhm.
And then fast forwarding a little bit, you saw the posting for Hubbard Street on Facebook.
I did.
Is that true?
I did.
Oh my God, talk about social media. You never know, kids.
Listen, and it was in COVID. So
Mhm.
during COVID, I was doing so much Zoom teaching.
Mhm.
Like I had moved the couch out of my living room,
Mhm.
and we had transitioned my living room into a studio.
Mhm.
And I mean, literally from 9 a.m. until 5,
Mhm.
I was in front of the computer.
Mhm.
And it just felt like, okay, this is working. I'm so glad we're
Mhm.
surviving and
Yes.
thriving, and I still have a job.
Yes.
Thankful, grateful. But is this it for me?
Mhm.
You know,
Mhm.
is this it for my career? I'm going
Mhm.
to end it here. I'm going to park it, and I'll just teach. That would have been fine.
Right.
But I was looking through Facebook, kind of came across a posting. It said, the person that posted it said, job posting alert. And it said Hubbard Street,
Wow.
Dan, Chicago. And I clicked on it, and it said, we want an artistic director. Click here for the job description. And the job description was pages long.
Of course. Right.
And I'm looking through going,
Mhm.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, I could do, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, I could do that. But did that.
Right.
I could do that.
Right.
Done that. You know what I mean? And then I passed it along to my kids. So my kids are older. I have a 31-year-old, a 29-year-old, and a 15.
Mhm.
And so I passed it on to the older kids. It was
Mhm.
right around Thanksgiving because they were home. And I said, read this job description. I remember my stepson going, this is you.
Yeah.
You need to apply.
Yes.
Like the older kids
Yeah.
said, apply. This is
Mhm.
you. This
Yeah.
is you coming into what you've been working to be.
Mhm. Oh, beautiful.
And my husband was like, hey, if you get it, I'll go. I mean, right away. It wasn't even
Yeah.
we'll have to talk about it. He's like, I'm not married to Marilyn. I'm married to you.
Okay.
And so I'll
Yes.
go. And so I really felt confident applying.
Yeah.
You know, and so I submitted my application and then started the
journey.
because it was a journey.
Right.
The application and interview process was
I can only
extensive.
imagine.
Yeah.
And so, can you say how long it took from applying,
Um,
pressing that button to?
about 2 months.
Okay.
So from applying to them calling me and
Yes.
saying that you've been hired,
That's it.
it took about 2 months.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow. And so now you're there, and we were talking about this a little bit off camera earlier. Now you're leading a company beautifully. What is it like being on the other side, being the person that is molding these young talents, these young emotions, even some of the older dancers that remained with the company in your stead? What does that feel like, knowing that you can hire and fire, or yeah?
It's a huge responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
It's huge.
It's their lives.
It totally is,
Yeah.
and it could be daunting
Mm-hmm.
at times. It can feel really heavy,
Mm-hmm.
but I try to show up
Mm-hmm.
joyful
Mm-hmm.
and positive.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's like you can't sink into the times.
Right.
But yeah, that's the reality of it.
Yeah.
And I think
But also, you get to hire people.
I get to
and make
hire
their lives
people.
better.
And I'm telling you, my best,
Yeah.
the best thing about this job is when
Mhm.
I'm hiring people and I
Yes.
get to have a Zoom call and say,
Mhm.
so would you like to become a member? I'm telling you, the looks, the screams,
Yeah, it's a good
the
feeling.
joy, it's such a great
Mhm.
feeling. But you know, the job was modeled perfectly by Judith Jamison and Lou Conti.
Yes.
And so I have to go back so often and say, what did I see Judy do? What did I see Lou do?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And then I
Yes.
can tailor,
Mm-hmm.
maybe that wasn't the best way. Maybe if I lean into my empathy a little bit more, I can have a conversation.
Absolutely.
You know what? Let me just be honest. Let me,
Mhm.
you know what I mean? But I've had models
Mhm.
to luckily follow.
Mm-hmm. And so, when did your were there things already on the docket in terms of choreographers coming in, or did you come right in saying, this is the program, this is the rep we're going to do now?
So when I got in, people were like, so what are we going to do?
Right.
Like, we're doing this virtual program that's going to get us through the end of season 43,
Mm-hmm.
but we need to know what we're doing next year. So the expectations were immediate.
Exactly.
I was hired, they told me I was hired in late January, and I started at the 1st of March.
Wow, 21.
21.
Right.
Yeah,
Oh,
so it was like,
right.
let's go.
Let's go.
Who do you want to pick to choreograph?
Mhm.
And what is the season going to look like? What is the theme? What is it called? So it was like, get to it.
Right.
And
the new studios.
the new studio at Water Tower,
Right.
all of those things were just coming
Wow.
one after the other. And here we are now.
Here you are
Mhm.
now. So one of the choreographers on this week here at the Joyce is Azure Barton, who we adore.
We adore her.
her.
Mhm.
And you're doing Busk fabulously, I
Yes.
must say. And it also was recently announced that she's going to be the new resident choreographer for 3 seasons.
Yes.
So how did that conversation come
Oh
about?
my God. It's a dream come true.
Mhm.
First of all, I have been an Azure fan.
Mhm.
I've been like
Me
stalking her.
too.
Like, I'll see her on Facebook and I'm like, love, like, love. I loved her piece.
Yeah,
Like, I'll send her
right.
stuff
Yeah.
in her DM,
Yeah.
stalking her for years. Even when she did Lift for Ailey
Mhm.
and all those wonderful
Mhm.
things. And so I've loved her movement.
Mm.
She has such a musical sensibility
Mhm.
that you don't find
Yes,
everywhere. And she has like a little funk and
Yeah,
play
absolutely.
to her work. And I'm
Mhm.
like, how do you know
Yeah.
about that girl?
Yeah, the wit, the humor in it.
Yes. I just
Which
love
you
it.
see all through Busk. You
Of
see it all through
course,
Busk.
it's all there. And so
Mhm.
when she came to restage Busk for us, because that
Mhm.
was one of the first things I
Mhm.
said was, can we do Busk?
Mhm.
So it was one of my first commissions.
Absolutely, yeah.
And so she came and set the work, and we have Jonathan Alsbury, who's
Mhm.
been one of her collaborators for
Mhm.
17 years.
Wow.
And she came to restage, and she came to me and she said, so I really love it here. I said, tell me more. Tell me what you're feeling. But
Right.
she felt really comfortable
Oh,
and
wonderful.
safe, and the dancers were so
Mm.
talented
Mhm.
and giving and warm.
Mhm.
And I'm like her biggest cheerleader.
Yeah.
And so all of those elements
Mhm.
were there for
Mhm.
her, and she
Mhm.
said, I would love to be here more.
Oh my goodness.
Could you believe that?
Yeah.
And so I just had to make it happen.
Nice.
So to go to my executive director saying, I need to do this. I don't know how.
Yeah.
Please help me.
Yeah.
But we have to do this. And
oh, wonderful.
he's brilliant and
Yes.
has made things align
Mhm.
so that she can be the resident artist
Oh,
for the next 3
fantastic.
seasons.
Congratulations.
Mhm.
I
Thank
can't
you.
wait till you guys come back and we can see the new work.
Exactly.
But just a shout out to Linda Shelton.
Yes.
It really is wonderful having an executive director who believes in you and trusts your
Mhm.
decisions but challenges you too.
Yeah.
And
Totally.
it's really wonderful. And
Totally.
so, well, congratulations on that. But I do have to quote the New York Times with a beautiful profile piece this week in the
So
Times.
generous.
And speaking of Busk, it quotes you as saying, "You haven't seen Busk like this," Fisher-Harrell said, noting that Barton had added a new section.
Mm-hmm.
But it might be truer to say that New York audiences haven't seen Hubbard Street quite like this. It's Fisher-Harrell's company now. That was kind of major, I must say.
And I hope maybe people who come to the performance see that, but also see the Hubbard Street they fell in love with.
That's right. That's right.
You know what I mean? So
Exactly.
I'm not like tearing the thing down.
Mm-mm.
I'm really building it up. I'm
Exactly.
building the history of the company up and
That's
embracing
exactly right.
all of the elements
Yeah.
all of my beautiful predecessors have brought to the
Mhm.
table, and not saying, oh, well, we're not doing this anymore. We're not. No, we can do it all.
Yes, that's
and
right.
be even more inclusive
That's
in
right.
our selection of dancers and our selection of choreographers and
Mhm.
people who we bring into the space.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh my God, we're so like-minded because that's
Yeah.
exactly how I feel here too.
Mhm.
Already such a great home for dance. I just want to enhance it however I can.
Yeah.
You know, it's already such a great history. But do you ever miss, now that you're seeing it and you're on this touring, the performances, do you miss being on stage in that way?
Oh, not really.
Well, you did come back recently for was it
For Chaya's
for
concert, for
Chaya.
Chaya's farewell.
That's right.
Yeah,
My
I
sister
did.
Chaya was stepping down from Alvin Ailey.
Yeah.
And Linda came back to dance. She did
Wait in the Water.
Wait in the water. Brought the house down. We were all screaming our heads off.
And I still love to move. I still love to
Absolutely.
dance. And I just recently had a hip replacement, and so I'm journeying through that.
Yeah.
Like, what does that feel like, and what does that feel like to get back to moving in this body?
That's right.
And it's going to be different than the 26-year-old body, and I'm cool with that.
Absolutely.
I'm cool with that, but just because I'm this age doesn't mean that I stop moving or that I stop contributing to the ether.
That's
you know
right.
what I mean?
That's
So,
right. Yeah.
so I'm still performing when I can. Still, whoever will have me, and still trying to be that example, even for the dancers here, that it doesn't stop.
That's right.
Even
right.
when the curtain comes down and you've done your thing at Hubbard Street, keep going. Keep going into the next chapter.
That's right.
What is going to happen?
Yeah.
Jeffrey Holder used to say to us, "What is your encore?" Remember that?
Yes. So one last thing I'll ask you, what would you say to, younger dancers who may be watching this, coming to see the show, aspiring to get into a company like Hubbard Street or an Alvin, Ailey, or a Paul Taylor? What would you say to them in their day-to-day? It's hard out here, in the streets these days, but how to stay encouraged.
Do your work. And I would say be committed and fall in love with the work, because that's never going to subside if you're lucky, right? It's not like, one day this, taking class every day is going to get easier, or one day I'll have to stop taking, or I want to stop taking class. No, you should want to always discover new things about the craft. Like, that's really falling in love with the craft. And it is hard,
It is.
but the rewards are amazing.
They are. Did you guys hear that? The rewards are amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you, Linda-Denise Fisher-Harrell, Artistic
Danni.
Director of Hubbard Street Dance Chicago, and my sister friend.
Love you, Danni.
Proud of you.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for watching. Please support Hubbard Street. If you're in Chicago, go see them. If you're watching this from wherever you are, they're coming to your town. You're going to Hawaii, I heard?
We are.
Hey, Hawaii, show up.
Maui.
Thank you all for watching. Thanks to the Joyce Digital team and our marketing team. I'm Danni Gee, Director of Programming, here with Linda-Denise from Hubbard Street Dance Chicago. Thank you, guys.